The woman who claims to be the true heiress of my family pointed an accusatory finger at me, exclaiming, "You impostor! Leave this household at once." My father, in a fit of rage, shattered a cup, while my mother, in tears, forcefully pushed me out the door. A minute later, a message popped up in the family group chat. My father: "Well performed, I shall grant you an additional 500 in pocket money." My mother: "My dear daughter, I sympathize with your plight. I have ordered Buddha jumps over the wall takeout to be delivered to your Uncle Wang's home." My brother: "All members, the target has taken residence in the master bedroom. We are activating 24-hour comprehensive familial surveillance." On the day when Song Yao was ushered into our home, I was in the living room, gnawing on chicken feet. She stood timidly before my parents, clad in a faded dress, clutching a paternity test report, tears cascading down her cheeks. "Uncle, Auntie, I am your biological daughter, Lin Yao." The chicken foot I held slipped from my fingers and fell to the ground. A reunion of long-lost daughters, a melodramatic family revelation. Such a cliché plotline, typically suited for a primetime soap opera, had inexplicably unfolded in my life. My name is Lin Wan, the Lin family's pseudo-daughter for the past 20 years. This truth had been known to me since childhood. My parents had never concealed it. They told me I was their legally adopted child from an orphanage, their only precious daughter. Yet now, the word only had to be prefixed with formerly. My mother, Miss Chin Lon, a woman of such elegance that even sipping water required a goblet, was now covering her mouth, her body swaying precariously, her eyes reflecting genuine shock and anguish. My father, Lin Zhengwo, the steadfast pillar of our family, stood frozen, his gaze fixed on the report, his hands trembling. Observing this, Song Yao wept even more pitifully. "I know my appearance is sudden, and I never intended to disrupt your family. I simply long to meet my biological parents." As she spoke, her eyes shifted to me, filled with scrutiny and hostility. "Sister, I hope you've been well these past years?" Before I could recover from the shock, my mother dashed forward and enveloped Song Yao in her arms. "My daughter, my Yao Yao. Mother is so sorry for letting you suffer outside." My father's eyes glistened with tears as he approached and patted Song Yao's shoulder, his voice choked with emotion. "It's all right, you're back now." The three of them embraced, weeping heartily, their sorrow palpable. I stood there, feeling like an outsider, my limbs frozen. It was all an act. Yet I was the sole oblivious spectator. After Song Yao had cried enough, she lifted her head from my mother's embrace, her eyes glistening with tears as she turned to my parents and said, "Dad, Mom, I know my sister has lived here for 20 years. I must be making her very sad. I think I should leave." What a delicate and innocent white lotus she was. My mother immediately grasped her arm, declaring, "You shall not leave. This is your home. No one can expel you." Then, her tone shifted as she coldly regarded me. The expression in her eyes was one I had never seen in the past 20 years, strange and frigid. "Lin Wan," she addressed me by my full name. "You are no longer the young lady of the Lin family. Yao Yao is. You must learn to understand your place." My heart plummeted to the depths of despair. The corners of Song Yao's mouth curled into a fleeting smirk, a momentary triumph that I caught. She stepped closer, adopting a victorious demeanor, and whispered, "Sister, I look forward to your guidance from now on." No, this cannot be true. How could my mother, who would make a fuss over a small scrape I received, and my father, who would secretly reward me for coming in second place, have transformed into this? As my worldview crumbled, my younger brother, Lin Chen, descended from upstairs. He was my parents' biological son born 2 years after me, a computer prodigy and the family member I had the best rapport with. I looked at him as if he were a lifeline. Lin Chen approached with a blank expression, bypassing me to stand before Song Yao. "You are my sister?" He scrutinized her with an unreadable tone. Song Yao immediately donned a pitiful expression. "Hello, brother, I am Lin Yao." Lin Chen nodded, then uttered a chilling statement that sent me reeling. "Oh, then you can vacate my room. The lighting in my room is better than Lin Wan's." He didn't call me sister. He referred to me as Lin Wan. That night, I was expelled from the princess room I had occupied for 20 years. Song Yao became the new mistress of that room. I was relegated to the smallest guest room on the 3rd floor, furnished only with a bed and a small wardrobe. At dinner, the atmosphere at the table was even more bizarre. My mother incessantly served Song Yao fussing over her as if trying to make up for 20 years of maternal love. Yao Yao, eat more of this. You look so thin. Tomorrow, Mom will take you shopping and buy you all the beautiful clothes you never had. My father, too, had shed his usual stern demeanor, treating Song Yao with warmth. Yao Yao, I've gotten you a supplementary card. Buy whatever you like. Don't hesitate. Meanwhile, I sat in the corner like a transparent ghost, ignored by everyone. Lin Chun remained silent, focused solely on his meal. I experienced the coldness of human relationships and the harshness of societal realities. After dinner, I retreated to my room, hugging my knees, unable to fathom why my home had transformed overnight. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Assuming it was a servant, I hoarsely invited them in. The door opened, and in walked my father, mother, and brother, one after another. My father swiftly locked the door behind him. I regarded them warily. What do you want? My mother remained silent, retrieving a small device from her pocket and scanning my room. With a beep, she discovered a pinhole camera hidden beneath the lamp base. My pupils dilated in shock. My mother expertly dismantled the camera and discarded it into the toilet, flushing it away. After completing this task, she turned back, her previously icy demeanor replaced by a face full of concern. My silly daughter, you were so frightened, weren't you? She rushed over to embrace me. My father sighed, ruffling my hair with a tone of helplessness. We've put you through so much, my daughter. My brother Lin Chin then handed me a tablet displaying several surveillance feeds, one of which prominently featured Song Yao in the master bedroom. I was utterly bewildered. What is happening? What else could it be? My father snorted, pulling out another document from his pocket and slamming it onto the table. Do you think we're fools? That Song Yao is a fraud. Your mother and I never had another child. I picked up the document, revealing a more detailed DNA comparison report. The conclusion was unequivocal. Song Yao bore no blood relation to my parents whatsoever. Then what about your earlier performance? Was that all an act? My mother slammed her thigh, her face now devoid of any sorrow, replaced by a look of cunning excitement. This little girl dared to come to our Lin family with a fake report. Someone must have orchestrated this. If we don't play along, how can we reel in the big fish behind her? My father nodded in agreement. Exactly. Thus, we decided to play along and have some fun with her. My brother Lin Chin added. I've already checked. The report she provided came from a now-defunct small agency, and the seal was carved from a radish. Moreover, she installed listening devices and cameras in your old room as soon as she came in, clearly intending to surveil us. My mind was reeling. The reversal came so swiftly, like a whirlwind. So, I had not been abandoned. My family was merely engaging in a charade with a con artist, and I was to play the pivotal role of the wronged faux daughter in this grand performance. I looked at my mother. So your harshness towards me earlier was also an act? Of course. My mother boasted. What do you think? Don't you think I deserve an Oscar for my performance? And me? My father interjected. When I said it's good that you're back, it was filled with heartfelt emotion. I almost believed it myself. My brother quietly raised his hand. I provided technical support. The following day, the grand performance commenced. Song Yao awoke early, donning a dress that had once been my favorite, sitting elegantly at the dining table, sipping milk. Upon seeing me descend the stairs, she immediately set down her cup and flashed a provocative smile. Sister, did you sleep well last night? Wasn't the bed in the guest room a bit hard? I took a deep breath, reminding myself that I am a professional actress. I lowered my head, my eyes rimmed in red, remaining silent, perfectly embodying the persona of a pitiful creature usurped by another. Song Yao was quite pleased with my reaction. She rose from her seat and approached me, deliberately raising her voice so that my mother in the kitchen could hear. Sister, I know you're feeling uneasy, but this is not your home. You must learn to be independent. I heard from Dad that our family business is in need of a receptionist. Why not give it a try? It's better than just living off the family. Me, the future heir of the Lin family, relegated to the role of a mere receptionist? I was almost unable to contain my anger. At that moment, my mother emerged from the kitchen with breakfast, coincidentally catching those words. She slammed the plate down on the table and unleashed a tirade at me. Yao Yao is right. Lin Wan, you're 20 now. You can't always depend on your family. Look at you. How do you compare to Yao Yao? She has endured so much hardship outside and is far more mature than you. A smug smile spread across Song Yao's face. I lowered my head, my shoulders trembling slightly, tears welling in my eyes. I too possessed acting skills. The breakfast concluded in an atmosphere thick with oppression and undercurrents. In the afternoon, Song Yao suggested we clean out my belongings from that room together. Under the guise of tidying up, she intended to dispose of my possessions, asserting her dominance. Naturally, I could not allow her to succeed. Thus, when she picked up my cherished limited edition figurine, preparing to toss it into the garbage bag, I lost control of my emotions. "What are you doing?" I rushed over, snatching back my figurine. "This is mine." "Yours?" Song Yao scoffed. "Lin Wan, understand this. Nothing in this house belongs to you. You are merely a counterfeit, an adopted child." That remark ignited the flames of conflict. We grappled with each other, though it was all an act. Our commotion quickly drew my parents over. Song Yao immediately released her grip, collapsing onto the floor, covering her face, and beginning to cry. "Dad, Mom. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to help my sister clean up, and she hit me." My mother, upon seeing the non-existent mark on her cheek, flew into a rage. She pointed a trembling finger at me, her body quaking with anger. "Lin Wan, you have disappointed me greatly. How dare you lay a hand on Yao Yao?" My father, playing along, donned a stern expression and delivered the final blow. "Get out. I want you to leave this house right now." I was pushed out the door by my mother, with Song Yao's triumphant sobs behind me and my father's furious shouts echoing in my ears. The door slammed shut with a resounding thud. I stood at the entrance of our villa, dragging a small suitcase, the autumn wind chilling my bones. I acted so convincingly that I almost believed I had truly been cast out. A minute later, my phone vibrated. The family group chat was abuzz with messages from our acting training class. My father, played by Lin Zhengwo as the bumbling CEO, well acted. "I'll add 500 to your pocket money." My mother, played by Qin Lan as the wicked stepmother, "My dear daughter, I'm sorry for your plight. I ordered you some Buddha jumps over the wall takeout to be delivered to Uncle Wang's house." My brother, played by Lin Chen as the indifferent younger uncle, "All members, the target has moved into the master bedroom. Initiate 24-hour surveillance." I, played by Lin Wan as the downtrodden faux heiress, received. "May I request an extra chicken leg with a cruise meal?" My father, "Add it." My mother, "Add it." My brother. With a light heart, I pulled my suitcase towards the villa of Uncle Wang, my father's childhood friend. There, I found temporary lodging. Uncle Wang's family had been well prepared by my parents, treating me with warmth and care, even more so than a biological daughter. My daily life consisted of remotely watching the drama unfold. Lin Chen had connected the home surveillance feed directly to my computer. I could see Song Yao rummaging through my room, attempting to uncover anything of value. I witnessed her feigning innocence before my mother, successfully persuading her to buy one designer bag after another. I even observed her attempting to seduce my brother, donning seductive sleepwear to knock on his door, only to be met with his dismissive response. "If you have something to say, say it. Don't interrupt me while I'm coding." I must admit, this drama was far more riveting than any television show. Each evening, our family convened in the group chat for script discussions, recapping the day as events and strategizing for the next day as performances. "Tomorrow, I would introduce her to my wealthy friends," my mother announced in the chat, intending to show her what true high society looks like, making her feel utterly ashamed. I would casually reveal at the board meeting that I had found my biological daughter and was preparing to have her gain some experience in the company. My father would follow suit. I was keen to see what her backers would do next. I had discovered that she had been frequently in contact with someone. My brother sent over some information. Gu Yan, the heir of the Gu family, who happened to be our family's sworn enemy. Gu Yan? The name rang a bell. The Gu family and our Lin family had been at odds in business for years, their animosity palpable. What could Song Yao want with him? Suddenly, a thought struck me. Was she sent by the Gu family? It was entirely plausible. My brother mentioned that the Gu family was currently vying for the project in the southern city, and if a scandal involving the true and false heiresses emerged, our Lin family stock prices would undoubtedly suffer. If Song Yao were to marry Gu Yan under the guise of being the true heiress, the consequences would be dire. A clever and malicious scheme indeed. My father slammed the table in frustration. "Don't panic," my mother said calmly. "Now that we know their intentions, we can perform even better. Daughter, I have a task for you tomorrow." "Me? ? My mother, Tomorrow, Guyan will attend a business gala and Song Yao will surely be there as well. I will accidentally bring you along. Your task will be to. As I read the plan my mother sent, my eyes sparkled with excitement. This was becoming increasingly interesting. At the business gala the next day, I donned a server's uniform, carrying a tray as I blended into the crowd. This was my mother's strategy, to present myself as a down-and-out worker, having been cast out of my home, thus surprising Song Yao and Gu Yan. Before long, I spotted them in the crowd. Song Yao, clad in the high-fashion gown my mother had just purchased for her, was linked to a tall and handsome man, beaming with delight. That man was undoubtedly Gu Yan. He was indeed striking, with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes exuding an air of nobility. Yet his gaze held a hint of aloofness and indifference. He was surrounded by a throng of admirers, laughing amiably, while Song Yao, at his side, appeared as a mere ornament, eager to boast, yet somehow out of place. My mother, accompanied by several wealthy ladies, happened to pass by. "Oh, isn't that Yao Yao?" She feigned surprise. "And who is this?" "Mom," Song Yao immediately called out warmly, casting a shy glance at Gu Yan. "This is my friend, Gu Yan. Young Master Gu. I have long admired your reputation," my mother replied with a perfectly composed smile. Gu Yan merely nodded, his gaze wandering as if searching for someone. Just then,
Song Yao spotted me.
Her eyes lit up, as if she had stumbled upon a great source of amusement. She deliberately tugged Gu Yan closer and approached me.
"Oh,
"Isn't this my sister?" She picked up a glass of champagne from my tray, her tone dripping with mockery. "What brings you here, serving drinks? Have you been kicked out and can't afford to eat?" All eyes turned towards me. I lowered my head, my fingers gripping the tray tightly, my body trembling slightly. "Sister, I just wanted to earn some money," I murmured. "Earn money?" Song Yao scoffed, then splashed the champagne directly onto my uniform.
Ah!
I gasped as the icy liquid cascaded down my chest, leaving me in a state of utter disarray. "Oh dear, how embarrassing," Song Yao feigned with a disingenuous smile. I slipped. "But fret not, I'll cover the cleaning fee for this garment. 100 yuan. Will that suffice?" As she spoke, she retrieved a crisp banknote from her purse, attempting to thrust it into my hands as if dismissing a beggar. It was an affront, a blatant humiliation. Just as I was poised to accept the money with the script's prescribed resignation, a hand intervened, blocking Song Yao. It was Gu Yan. He frowned at her, a trace of displeasure lacing his tone. "That's enough." Song Yao froze. Without acknowledging her. Gu Yan turned to me. His gaze was profound, inscrutable, leaving me unable to discern his thoughts. He produced a handkerchief from his pocket and offered it to me. "Wipe your tears," he said, his voice low and resonant. I was taken aback. This scene was not in the script. The male lead was not supposed to aid the female lead in humiliating me, the wicked supporting character. Why was he assisting me instead? As I stood in bewilderment, my mother rushed forward, shielding me with her body, directing a fervent reprimand at Song Yao. "Yao Yao, how can you treat your sister this way? Even if she is not your blood, she has lived in our home for 20 years. How can you bully her like this?" Song Yao was left dumbfounded, looking at Gu Yan with a sense of grievance.
Yet,
Gu Yan merely regarded the spectacle with cold indifference before turning to me once more. "Do you need assistance?" Regaining my composure, I shook my head, accepted his handkerchief, and murmured my thanks. Then, I turned and fled, escaping under the sympathetic gazes of onlookers. Once in the break room, I immediately pulled out my phone. The group chat for the acting class was in an uproar. "My mother, what is going on? Why isn't Gu Yan following the script? My father, does he have a crush on our daughter? My brother." I looked into Gu Yan's reputation, and it doesn't seem as bad as rumored. I gazed at my disheveled reflection in the mirror, clutching the exquisite handkerchief adorned with the letters GY. What on earth did Gu Yan intend? After that soiree, Gu Yan began to appear frequently in my life. While working at Uncle Wang's cafe, he would casually stroll by, order coffee, and sit across from me for an entire afternoon. When I visited the library to conduct research, he would conveniently occupy the seat next to mine, engrossed in the same obscure economics tome. On one occasion, while shopping at the market, I even bumped into him, an heir worth billions, carrying a basket, discussing the freshness of the winter melon with me. The scene was utterly incongruous. Meanwhile, Song Yao intensified her harassment. She first anonymously reported hygiene issues at the cafe, resulting in its temporary closure for inspections. Then, she bribed a colleague at my company to steal an important project proposal I had crafted, causing me to embarrass myself during a meeting. Each time, under my parents' remote guidance, I adeptly portrayed a character tormented by fate yet resilient as a flower. My tragic plight garnered sympathy from numerous colleagues, and each time I found myself in dire straits, Guyen would serendipitously appear. He would clarify the cafe rumors, discreetly hand me a backup proposal, and even host afternoon tea for the entire company, excluding only those who had bullied me. His actions left me increasingly perplexed. Song Yao, infuriated, confronted Gu Yan several times, yet he remained aloof and unresponsive. One day, he once again encountered me at the cafe where I worked. Unable to contain my frustration, I placed a coffee before him and asked bluntly, "Mr. Gu, what exactly do you want?" He looked up at me, a playful smile curling at the corners of his lips. "What do I want? Can't you see? I'd rather not guess." "I'm pursuing you," he declared candidly. I nearly choked on my own disbelief. "Pursuing me? You jest, Mr. Gu. What could a mere false heiress, cast out from her home, possibly offer you?" "You are not false," he asserted with certainty. My heart skipped a beat. "I don't understand what you're saying," I feigned composure. "Lin Wan, let us speak plainly." Guyan leaned slightly forward, lowering his voice. "Song Yao is the imposter, and you've known this all along, haven't you?" My heart raced, lodged in my throat. "How could he know?" Seeing my shock, Guyan chuckled. "Your family's acting is indeed commendable. However, regrettably, you overlooked one individual."
Who? Me.
Guyan pointed to himself. I was the earliest audience to this performance. He revealed that a month prior, Song Yao had approached him with a forged identification report, proposing a collaboration. She claimed to be the true daughter of the Lin family and promised that if Guyan helped her reclaim her place, she would act as an insider to aid the Gu group in undermining the Lin family's project in the south of the city. In return, she would enter into a union with him, allowing the Gu family to rightfully absorb a portion of the Lin family's assets. A woman ambitious yet rather dim-witted was Guyan's assessment of Song Yao. I suspected something was amiss, which is why I had someone investigate, he continued. The findings confirmed my suspicions. She was indeed an imposter. What's more intriguing is that it appears your family has long been aware of this matter and has been playing along. A chill coursed down my spine. Then why didn't you expose us? Why expose you? Guyan countered. Isn't watching the show rather entertaining? He paused, his gaze intensifying as he fixed his eyes on me, especially when the leading lady is you. My cheeks flushed uncontrollably. So, your approach to me was for a collaboration. Guyan's playful demeanor vanished, replaced by earnestness. Lin Wan, we share a common enemy, do we not? The enemy he referred to was not only Song Yao but also the one truly intent on dismantling both our families. Who? My uncle, Gu Mingyuan. Guyan's expression turned frigid. Song Yao is merely a pawn, he has put forth. The name Gu Mingyuan sent shivers down my spine. My father had mentioned it several times at home. He was the second in command at the Gu group, perpetually eyeing my father's position. Over the years, internal strife within the Gu family had been rampant, mostly orchestrated by him behind the scenes. My uncle intends to use Song Yao as a pawn to bring down the Lin family, while simultaneously ruining me, Guyan stated coldly. Once the Lin family falls, our faction, which has deep ties with them, will also suffer greatly. At that point, he can easily smear me by associating me with the false heiress, thereby displacing me from the position of heir. A masterstroke of deception, killing two birds with one stone. Both our families had become mere pieces on his chessboard. Thus, I require your assistance, Guyan declared. We must join forces to make this performance more convincing and draw the snake out of its hole. I hesitated to agree immediately. This was a matter I needed to discuss with my crew. That evening, I recounted my conversation with Guyan in the family group chat. The silence that ensued lasted a full 5 minutes. My father, this young man has potential. My mother, I told you he has feelings for our daughter. Isn't this just the classic trope of hero saving the damsel, then joining forces to ultimately unite? My brother, the information he provided is invaluable. Gu Mingyuan is indeed the most likely mastermind. I discovered a significant sum flowing into Song Yao's account, traced back to an offshore shell company owned by Gu Mingyuan. I asked, so, should we revise the script? My father replied, Yes. It must be revised. The male lead must be included. Thus, after extensive discussions between both production teams, our screenplay has been elevated to its 20th version. Guyen and I commenced our public performance of a narrative wherein a domineering CEO falls in love with a fallen heiress. He would arrive at my workplace, a quaint cafe, in a sleek sports car to whisk me away after my shift, bestow roses upon me in the presence of onlookers, and escort me to the finest dining establishments. Meanwhile, I portrayed a girl enraptured by love, gradually losing myself in its dizzying embrace. Our romance swiftly became the talk of the town. Song Yao, consumed by jealousy, confronted me several times, demanding to know why I was usurping her man. I merely regarded her with a gaze filled with pity. Yao Yao, matters of the heart cannot be forced.
Guyen loves me.
Her face flushed with rage. She retorted,
Lin Wan, do not be so smug.
You are nothing but a counterfeit. Do you truly believe Guyen loves you? He is merely toying with you. Once he tires of you, you will be nothing. Internally, I silently countered, I beg your pardon, but our families are on the verge of a union, a formidable alliance that will elevate us to the pinnacle of our lives. Of course, my exterior maintained a facade of wounded innocence. Our performance was remarkably successful. Song Yao took the bait, intensifying her attempts to contact Gu Mingyuan, urging him to hasten the next phase of their plan. Gu Mingyuan, unable to contain himself any longer, believed that Guyen was truly captivated by me, the false heiress, and that this was the opportune moment to undermine him. At the annual shareholders meeting of the Lin Group, both Gu Mingyuan and Song Yao were present. Gu Mingyuan attended as a significant partner, while Song Yao was granted permission by my father to attend as the true heiress of the Lin family. Midway through the meeting, Gu Mingyuan suddenly launched an attack. He stood up, feigning sorrow, and declared, Mr. Lin, there is a matter I am uncertain whether to disclose. It pertains to the reputation of the Lin family, and I believe all shareholders have the right to be informed. My father lifted his gaze slightly and replied coolly, Feel free to speak, Mr. Gu. Very well, Gu Mingyuan proclaimed, adopting a righteous demeanor. As I understand it, this young lady, Miss Lin Wan, whom you have been nurturing as your heir, is not your biological daughter. Your true heiress is actually Miss Song Yao. His words sent shockwaves through the room. Whispers erupted among the shareholders. Song Yao stood up, theatrically shedding a few tears. Dear uncles, I am indeed the daughter of the Lin family, Lin Yao. Gu Mingyuan continued, What pains me further is that my nephew, Guyen, has been utterly beguiled by this unknown impostor, to the extent of jeopardizing our Gu family's interests for her.
Today,
I shall expose the true nature of this woman before all, he declared, slamming a stack of photographs onto the conference table. Behold, this woman, while seizing the Lin family's fortune, is also seducing our family's heir. A promiscuous woman like her does not deserve to remain within the Lin family. His voice thundered, resembling that of a champion of justice. The shareholders' gazes toward me shifted dramatically. Song Yao wore a triumphant smile, believing she had won. My father, observing this farce,
exhibited no anger.
He cleared his throat and addressed Gu Mingyuan, inquiring languidly, Is your performance concluded? Gu Mingyuan was taken aback. Mr. Lin, what do you mean by that? Literally, my father leaned back in his chair, calm and collected. Has your one-man show finished? If it has, it is now our turn. With that, he snapped his fingers. The large screen in the conference room flickered to life, revealing footage of Song Yao installing a pinhole camera in my room upon her first visit to our home. Following this, recordings of her conversations with my brother emerged. Brother, help me out. Once I become the mistress of the Lin family, I assure you, I won't treat you poorly. The lighting in my room is far better than Lin Wan's. Next was a recording of her phone call with Gu Mingyuan. Uncle, the plan is proceeding smoothly. The fools in the Lin family have all been deceived. That Lin Wan, the wretched girl, has even entangled herself with Gu Yen. You must help me reclaim Gu Yen. Each segment provided irrefutable evidence. Gu Mingyuan and Song Yao's faces paled in an instant. No, this cannot be true. It has been fabricated. Song Yao shrieked in desperation. Fabricated? Lin Chen emerged from behind, holding a laptop. Mr. Gu, Miss Song, would you like me to disclose your call logs, bank transaction records, and the IP addresses of the overseas servers you use to communicate? Gu Mingyuan's legs buckled beneath him. He slumped into his chair, ashen-faced. The shareholders sat in stunned silence. Gu Yen rose, approached me, and took my hand. He looked at Gu Mingyuan, his voice icy. Uncle, you have lost. My mother, Miss Qinlan, stood gracefully and approached Song Yao, looking down at her with a slight parting of her crimson lips. What are you pretending for? The whole family knows you are not a biological child. However, there is something you may not be aware of. She paused. In our family, there has never been a so-called true heiress. What do you mean there is no true heiress? Song Yao gaped, lifting her head in disbelief. What are you saying? I am saying, my mother enunciated clearly, her voice resonating throughout the hall, that while I did indeed give birth to a daughter, she tragically passed away at birth due to congenital heart disease. This secret was unbeknownst even to me. My father stood, joining my mother, grasping her hand with a gaze full of compassion. That was the most painful time of our lives. My mother looked at me, her eyes brimming with tenderness. It took us a long time to emerge from that shadow. Later, we found you at the orphanage. You were merely 3 months old, so small and full of laughter. The moment we laid eyes on you, we knew we had to adopt you and love you as our own. Thus, Lin Wan, my father declared, his voice unwavering. You are not a substitute for anyone. You are simply you, our Lin family's one and only daughter. Tears streamed down my cheeks uncontrollably. So this was the truth. I was not a false heiress. This was my home. My parents were indeed my biological parents. Blood relations at this moment seemed so trivial. The conference room fell into a profound silence. Song Yao completely shattered, collapsing to the floor, murmuring, impossible, impossible. Gu Mingyuan was rendered speechless. The police soon arrived, taking Gu Mingyuan and Song Yao into custody on charges of commercial fraud and defamation. After the shareholders' meeting concluded, my family, along with Gu Yen, returned home. Uncle Wang also arrived. He was my father's best friend and the logistic director of our grand performance. My mother personally cooked an elaborate feast. At the dining table, my father raised his glass, looking at me with deep emotion. Daughter, I apologize for the trials you have endured these days. I shook my head, smiling. I was not wronged. It was rather entertaining. Right. My mother exclaimed with excitement. I told you my acting was superb. Especially the scene where I drove you out of the house. My heart-wrenching expression was simply extraordinary. My brother quietly interjected, Mom, you almost broke character. Nonsense. That was laughter born of deep sorrow. Our family once again resonated with laughter and joy. Uncle Wang looked at us, smiling. Old Lin, this script of yours could be adapted into a television drama, guaranteed to be a hit. Absolutely. My father declared with pride. Amidst the revelry, Gu Yan served me a portion of my favorite sweet and sour ribs, looking at me with gentle eyes. From now on, no one will dare to bully you again. My mother immediately seized the opportunity to play matchmaker. Xiao Gu, you see, R11 is no longer a child. Perhaps it is time to consider your relationship? My father nodded in agreement. I think it sounds good. Let us find a time for both families to meet and settle the matter. Gu Yan smiled, his gaze directed towards me, brimming with anticipation. My cheeks flushed a deep crimson.
Dad, Mom,
I exclaimed, mortified, stamping my feet in embarrassment. I am blessed with a father who dotes on me, a mother who is both theatrical and loving, and a brilliant younger brother with a tough exterior, but a tender heart. It seems I am now destined to also have a cunning yet affectionate boyfriend. The setting sun outside bathed the room in a warm golden hue through the window, enveloping the entire living room in a cozy glow. We are family. Does it truly matter whether or not we share blood ties? Love is the most indestructible bond in this world.
the end.
Thank you for listening, and we shall meet again in the next story.